That's 5 out of 7 levels, folks. Onto more shooting levels. Dark Corridor will not give you any easier of a time than Part 3, folks. In fact, I could not finish through this level without being forced to, and as you'll see, give myself the maximum amount of lives. I could not finish this Mutant's Force, nor the final way, or whatever part VII is called, without having to resort to putting in that cheat code. I've tried multiple times, but even finishing the level as of how I am playing through these, very challenging as it is. But at least it is packed with some pretty awesome music. Not only do I find the gameplay most enjoyable when it is in these sections, but the music is pretty kick-ass too. Something I'd be willing to listen to by itself. Now, if you are willing to pick up this game, might I advise you to pick up the version on Steam. That is one thing I forgot to bring up, or was I not aware to begin with, but anyway, Steam version is not only $5, which is very likely a lot more cheap than had you decide to hunt down the original cartridge, but it also comes with multiple different versions. One from the PC version, the original SNES versions, 2 different patched versions of the Super Nintendo Entertainment versions. Not sure exactly the difference between those two, and even the unreleased Mega Drive version. Alas, Sega fanboys and fangirls have been unable to enjoy this game. But yeah, whoever's behind the Steam version really went out of the way to bring in multiple versions, including the one that was never released. Although some of the tracks were leaked on the net. Definitely some of the best Genesis music I have heard. And if you would have taken the top path there, by the way, you would have collided. That would have been an unfair life taker. See, because enemies constantly pop out of nowhere, obstacles keep coming at you, and multiple types of obstacles, which does bring variety, though these stages are pretty much required. These games very much are trial and error, pretty much require memorization, though certainly it's a fun kind, so I'm not complaining too much here. But yeah, Steam version, $5, go pick it up. Oh yeah, while discussing the Steam version, they're even on the way to releasing DLC, which will containing 8-bit version. If this game wasn't retro enough. And yeah, of course, I had to add live. I stated that this game has already. This copy has had problems and has shown multiple times that, not evidence, downright proof that it just downright crashes on me. Well, it either crashes or it doesn't. But do be considerate of that if you believe my method of completing this game, making this game less brutal, is looked down upon. More scrolling. Clearly a fault from the game. A bunch of tracks I just kind of blazed through after first few seconds, aka as soon as possible. But that, and oh hey there, reuse music. That and the game over music I really took for granted when I was a kid. Such an awesome track it is to listen to. It's especially awesome after the first 10 seconds. Though you could say that this game has been recycling music. The thing is, and it kind of is, but as I've stated, the other version, Gym Power on Mutant Planet, or in Mutant Planet, I'm not even sure anymore, only had those jetpack and on foot levels. This is where the song was introduced, so as stated before, there is no labyrinth or anything. This was what the track was made for. This infernal looking level. This is hell. Say what you want how flawed the on-foot gameplay is, and I'm not gonna go so far as defending it when you are having to fire onto enemies. How when you are not able to move efficiently as you're firing. How brutal these obstacles can be, even unfair at certain points. But I gotta give credit where credit's due, and that is how much variety of enemies there are in pretty much every new level you go to. Even if there aren't new enemies, there are still some new elements added in. There are still new types of obstacles. So this game doesn't ever feel stale, even if it can get rather frustrating. Here, Jim is facing a not Moldorm. It's a pretty similar pattern to him as well. Just keep aiming for the head and don't do what I did and stay at the center as it is moving to the other hole. It'll be rotating, kind of going in this erratic pattern. It's not too difficult of a boss, though. It has certainly been the tedious side. Certainly is there to waste your time. Not particularly fun to have to face for when it comes out and in the hole. A hole, I should say. Not to be confused with censored version of a swear word. Excuse me. This is the only time you're able to fire at its weak point, unless you're willing to waste some smart bombs, which still not quite the best time to use them. And jumping from platform to platform does change things up pretty much whenever you stumble upon them. So that's pretty neat. Though I checked it out on Steam, what this new version is like. Truth be told, I have yet to actually download anything from the said app. I mean, it's undeniably one of the smarter ways to, and this is no time to pose, Jim, to purchase gaming with how much cheaper they are compared to console counterparts, how they're comparable to prices on Android tablets and whatnot. I'm just not that much of a PC gamer, and I'm aware that you could insert a PlayStation 3 controller or whatever and just enjoy it like you would on a console. And of course, being able to use a certain cord to change footage from a monitor to a TV. But to think I would get around to that would be giving me way too much credit. All those particular obstacles are reused. 4 different flames going in an oval pattern. That is one of the few times where ducking is required. And we're also facing them gargoyle demon thing from certain Capcom franchise. Ghost and Goblins! That one there is especially to waste your time. It only just pops in and out like a whack-a-mole. Just allows a few more seconds to pass by. Doesn't go out of your way to attack you. That was a pretty easy one to try to fetch there. For those spikes, have a pretty easy pattern to figure out. As difficult as this final level is, just like with every level except for Part V, you really don't have to worry about the time, unless you take your sweet precious time, making 100% sure your eyes are aligned with the moving platforms, but I mean still, time is one of the last things you want to worry about throughout the rest of the game, and this stage is not an exception. Those crushers will go down twice, gives a few second rest, crush down thrice, gives the same amount of seconds of a rest. I have a difficult time believing that that wave is coming from that pistol, but damn does it look badass. For some reason, those spiders you are unable to blast into oblivion. You just have to look for those patterns and dash under them. This mini boss was rather obnoxious going through. Pops in and out around, sticking out its tongue at you, which shaped like a trident or a pitchfork, whatever. You have to have impeccable timing to dodge. It is a lot more difficult than it looks. Then again, much of this game as a whole is harder than it looks. And as stated before, because the vast majority of those time those keys are kind of on the way, only take a second or two to try to grab. That one because you have to chance it getting on the platform with spikes and flames below it. That's one of the few times that I don't find having to get through keys just simply a waste of time, as opposed to a fun little challenge. Mandatory challenge. Oh, hello there, slow down. So that's about as bad as slowdown gets. This game does generally run smooth otherwise. Invincibility frames. Must take advantage of them. The spiders just won't give it a rest. Here are the final obstacles. Dash through. No alternate path. Gotta make a run for it. And then there you can take a quick breather. Although I use that word very loosely. Because, you know, can't say quite taking a breather when you could get crushed a foot ahead or behind you. Just simply is the Guardian. Kind of a boring final boss name, but here it is. Something that's gonna eat up your lives. Not literally, doesn't devour you. But it will likely kill you every few seconds, with it spitting out its fireballs, jumping all over the place. pretty worthy final boss when it comes to challenge, but where are its animations? The time it's animated is when it is airborne for a few seconds. Otherwise, when it's shooting out flames at you, when it jumps from one side of the screen to the other. This boss is seriously lacking in different sprite work. And it's down. Took away 7 of my lives. Doesn't take too long to finish.
Congratulations, Jim is safe and sound. He will now leave the virtual worlds in which he was a prisoner, and now he will be heading to the Sierra base.
You're forced to listen to the awesome credits music before I just heard the first 5 seconds of which is forevermore drilled into my mind. Oh hell yeah, the guitars are kicking in. I'm rocking out to the song. Initial time, like it's an arcade game, and like it's able to save my score data. It won't. Someday, Jim, I will overthrow you. Actually, really unlikely. I don't think I'm ever going to legitimately finish this game. Well, thank you all for watching. Thanks for putting up with my gay-sounding voice. I will see y'all whenever I do another Let's Play, or something completely different. Anyways, take care, y'all.